It's going to be interesting to see, because, and I feel like this is this point where we might as well just move on to
Yeah. Let's get properly into it.
get on to talk about the whole strikes with the WGA and now the SAG. Like, so today, the strikes begin on Friday. So literally tomorrow, as you're watching this episode, the strikes have begun. Their writers for a long time weren't getting any, like, there was no headway being made. Like, they weren't even sitting down with the Writers Guild. The Screen Artists Guild then did that letter, which we talked about a couple weeks ago, where 300 plus actors had signed it saying they would strike to try and put pressure on. Studios still didn't listen. So here we are. Now we're going to have 300 plus actors, if like probably way over that all going to go on strike.
Yeah, I mean, let's see how many actors are signed up to the SAG. How many members does the SAG-AFTRA have? Where's it gone? There it is. Oh my god, Google, work with me here.
But it's going to be a lot.
Would you like to know how many they... go on, actually, give me an estimate of how many actors you think they represent. That union represents.
4,000.
160,000.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
This is huge. There will be, because you've got to remember, this isn't, when you think of actors, you're going to think your A-listers.
Yeah.
This is bigger than that.
And it's going to be like theatre and everything.
There are going to be theatre shows that aren't going to be happening. There are going to be commercials for local TV networks that can't even happen.
Yeah.
You will, in 2 or 3 months' time, you are going to see adverts you've not seen for 10 years come back into circulation because they can't do a new advert and it's time to change.
Do you know what's going to happen with adverts? There'll be no celebrity in an advert or like unknown. We're going to get a wave of influencers put into adverts because that's the only people they can get to do it. And influencers are like, wait, you want me in an advert? Yeah. And we're going to get a bunch of cheesy adverts with like influencers from TikTok and stuff.
Yeah.
Not looking forward to that. Okay, so yeah, 100,000 plus actors. Like, obviously, just because the guild is striking doesn't necessarily mean that everyone has to choose to strike.
I believe it does for this union.
Is it? Oh, okay.
I believe when this union strikes, everyone strikes. Otherwise, they like revoke their membership. Not in you're with us or against us, but as a union, we collectively act as one, and they take votes on what the action is. So it's like you can't buy in to our union that's fighting, and we all vote and decide what we're doing, and then not support it. I believe is the way it works. So like Deadpool 3 will stop filming.
Yeah.
I don't know what else is in production at the minute.
Loki season 2
right now. Yeah, that will already be done if it's coming out later this year.
Yeah, true. It's coming out this year.
But anything currently in production will have to stop. Any press junkets being done, so like they were probably getting ready to start press for Ahsoka in the next week or two. That won't happen.
All press. Yeah, there's just going to be trailer runs now as their ads.
We sit here basically every week. I mean, just look at the last 4 weeks. Every week we've had like Chris Hemsworth stuff, Idris Elba stuff, Tom Holland stuff, whoever else, Florence Pugh stuff, Jennifer Lawrence did Hot Ones. Hot Ones won't happen. You won't have a Hot Ones episode with an actor on it.
It's going to be YouTube stars.
Yeah. Actors only ever go on Hot Ones when they're promoting stuff. They won't be doing that anymore. Yeah,
no, that's true. And this is the thing to note about for like the people that don't understand. Like, maybe you get why the writers are striking because they're not being paid great, but then you're thinking like, oh, why is Ryan Reynolds and stuff striking? They're paid loads. Like, this isn't necessarily like, as we just said, the Screen Actors Guild represents over 100,000 actors and actresses. like this isn't about the top 2% of who are making like their money and they're fine. They're striking on behalf of like the ones that are new actors just coming out of like school, have gotten into the Screen Actors Guild. They've maybe done one or two commercials and stuff, but they're struggling to like make money. This is literally about making sure that there's a fair baseline that everyone enters into on, and there's none of this like you're new, you're going to get absolutely taken a run for because you haven't got anything under your belt, so you're not worth anything. It's to
Yeah,
stop
I
stuff
mean,
like that.
what Matt Damon said is
Yes.
we got to hold strong until we get a deal that's fair for working actors. It's the difference between having healthcare and not for a lot of actors. Because you've got to remember, by being part of the union, by doing X amount of gigs, they've then got health insurance provided by the union,
Mm-hmm.
which is actually a bit in Friends when Joey gets a hernia.
Yes.
He's got a hernia and he has to go and get an acting job while he's got his hernia so that his health insurance renews so that he can get his hernia
Yep.
treated.
Yep.
When that is a butt of a joke 20 years ago, it shouldn't still be happening.
Exactly. It shouldn't still be a
And
worry.
that is the kind of thing that could genuinely be happening for some actors, where they're ill, beaten to fuck, and they have to go and get a job just so they can get their health insurance. So this is big, but this isn't just like film actors. This is TV as well.
Yeah.
If there is 2 months, 3 months, 4 months of no production because there's no writers and no actors, in a year's time, what do you think happens to TV?
Well, any like US rolling like soap or any like like a TV series that's like on a rolling series thing that are filmed literally like a month before like those episodes are like filmed like a month within it coming out and stuff like that. Those shows are going to grind to a halt.
When are the Emmys? I know nominations came out today.
Wasn't it? Was it not? Literally the other.
No, the nominations have been announced today.
Um, September 18th.
I'm not sure if the actors will be able to attend that.
They probably won't be able to. So that's going to be a pretty empty. Do you know what? There's can't have empty seats. There's just going to be a load of fake staff sat in the tables to make it look full.
I genuinely don't know if because of the strike they'll.
Probably not because it's classed as like, it's like a press thing essentially. It's like a red carpet event. Like it's like any of that stuff.
Will SAG strike
affect Emmys?
Affect Emmy awards?
Quite possibly. And if it does,
it's also likely to impact the Emmys, yeah, because they're going to be there representing the project they've worked on.
Mm-hmm. They're not allowed. It's doing press for the project, essentially.
Oh my.
So the Emmys might get just cancelled as an event, and they just announce the winners.
I know we probably pay more attention to this than the average person.
Yeah, but
I don't even think we fully understand the scope of how much.
Do you know something else I'm thinking? We sort of mentioned it with Spider-Man 2, but like there could be a lot of video games that have issues now. Video games that are in development might get delayed. Like, for example, Cyberpunk that's coming out. Obviously, this is already done, but the Cyberpunk's coming out. It's got Idris Elba. It's got Keanu Reeves. Had this been in production, they might not have been able to do voice acting and stuff. Like, stuff would have got like things where these games now, which are leaning into having like bigger name actors and their likeness in games and their voice acting, all those sort of things are going to like grind to a halt because they can't record.
Okay, 1 second. So back in 2017, there was another SAG strike in relation to video game company stuff.
Right.
So that might not be affected.
It could be a separate area of
that might be a case of if you don't, but that doesn't mean that for instance, Spider-Man 2, which is being done by Sony, which is video games and films, that Yuri Lowenthal might not take part in that because of the connotation there. That is where it's going to get really techie and finicky, and I don't quite know how that works.
Yeah, this is where we don't know.
But I mean, even just looking at what some executives have said about the WGA strikes, which have been going on for a while now, One, I believe it was Bob Iger was quoted as saying,
Yeah.
"Studios plan on waiting for writers to be broke and defaulting on their mortgages, losing their homes before entering negotiations again."
Which is just like, it's wild that these CEOs at the top of the studios quite like comfortably have that stance and opinion and think that's like an okay stance to take on this, and think that like they're in the right, because they're confidently saying that in a way of like, oh yeah, we're more than happy to wait till that, like this will all be over. Like they're
Disney
doing the
are
wrong thing.
worth 165 billion.
Yeah, do you not see what Bob Iger takes as a bonus each year?
No.
It's fucking ridiculous. Let me relook that up. Bonus. Annual salary and bonus. His annual base salary of 1 million, with long-term incentives to reach 25 million. I can't remember what his bonus was. I'll have to try and find it. But his bonus was nuts on its own. And yeah, it's like, what, like, oh, that was it. He can get a performance-based bonus that's equal to 100% of his annual salary. So a bonus of up to 25 million a year. Which
just so we can be fucking clear here, yeah? Disney are estimated to profit $20 million a day just from Disney World. Just from Disney World.
also,
pay your writers, pay your fucking actors, stop being cheap. And it's not just Disney. That's just the easiest way to point.
Well, and
but
Bob Iger's
it's
just
all
been the
of
one
the
that's
studios.
like,
yeah, it's all of these.
The point as well is like the guys at the top here, like Bob Iger and stuff. Let's just make this clear: they're not writing any shows. They're not sat in a boardroom coming up with ideas. They're just sat there at the top, taking the, like. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure they do a lot in the management of the business.
No C-suite position does dick all, and you will never convince me otherwise.
Management of people that run the business. He does something. He must do something on a day-to-day. Whether it's useful or not is another question. But like, he contributes nothing to like what we experience from Disney. And it's like he's getting and he has these wild.
No. Actually, I'm going to give him some credit here. He does contribute to what we experience. He contributes to us experiencing the anger right now, but then refusing to give creative people what they deserve. That's true. What he contributes.
Do you know what's funny though? It's like they were. I feel like they were quietly confident with like what we said. They're happy for writers to go broke and default on mortgages and stuff because they think, they don't see the worth in the writers. At the end of the day, like things were still moving on. They were watching productions continue without writers. They're thinking, it's fine. This is all. Now that actors are stepping away, like we were saying before we started recording, like all this takes now is one of the Hollywood Guild like unions for like production studios or like the production side of things. If they join in as well, every single film, TV will like grind to a halt. And it's just like, at that point, they have to listen. Otherwise, like their businesses just stop. Like their business just stops, and it's like, no, like at the end of the day, that's when the money will talk, and it's like they're gonna realize, well, shit, we've got to do something because we can't have all these productions on standstill.
So to just put in perspective how fucked over actors are getting by studios and streaming services as well as writers, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Several actors say Netflix CEO Ted Sarandos boasted at a party about how many more people watched Orange is the New Black than Game of Thrones. Game of fucking Thrones. He was boasting that more people were watching Orange is the New Black. This made one cast question why their residual pay was so low. I only get $20.
Yeah.
Their residual check was $20, while the CEO is boasting that their show is being watched more than Game of motherfucking Thrones, which was at the time the biggest show that has ever existed.
So here's the thing with like the issue that Netflix is causing. When shows would get put on TV and if they would get rerun, every rerun or anything would get, there was a set baseline price that TV had to pay, and these writers will get a decent enough. Obviously now this is like probably below what they would want, but like they were getting decent enough checks from TV and stuff like that, from reruns or anything like that, because TV has to pay a certain fee. Streaming doesn't include in that, and it's like streaming. It's like you get a residual, like tiny amount for every watch, and it's like doesn't matter how long it's on a streaming site for. Doesn't these writers get fuck all. Like once it goes onto streaming, like they're basically getting pennies in the wind. Like there's nothing there for them, and it's causing this bigger issue, especially because like something we talked about weeks ago, a couple of weeks back now, and we'll probably go into the news again. Is like the amount of films going straight to digital, the amount of show, like everything's going streaming, and it's like it is killing cinema.
And the other big thing that I found out today as well is that a lot of these projects that are getting cancelled last minute, like Batwoman, are just to make tax cuts. So they get a tax rebate or whatever after spending the money on the project and it making no money. So if they last minute think this is not going to make any money,
yeah, just scrap it.
TV show, whatever, they'll scrap it, and the tax that break they get ends up being worth more than if they'd released it. Plus, they don't have to pay any residuals ever. But also, you're seeing stuff get taken off of streaming services, which is reducing residuals even further.
Yeah.
So one writer wrote an episode for a show on Disney Plus. I don't know what show it was. That's got them nominated for Emmys. And that episode has now been taken off of Disney Plus. So that writer can't even watch that episode or get money from that episode ever again. But it got Disney and Emmy nomination.
It's wild. There's stuff that came out on Disney that has been on there for only a few months and it's getting scrapped off this. It's like it's wild. And hopefully
be creative.
Hopefully with the Screen Actors Guild stepping in as well and striking, hopefully that brings a big enough kind of spotlight now onto everything and puts way more pressure that these studios finally fucking listen.
And the next thing we need to do is make it so that studios stop bending over cinemas as well.
Yeah.
Because let's be completely clear here. What they've tried to do is they've realised how much more of a percentage they make for streaming stuff. Because they don't have to pay actors or writers fair residuals for it. So then what do? They go, okay, so they're getting a better percentage from theatre. Because, we found out from Scarlett Johansson a couple of years ago, they were getting massive, massive bonuses based on cinema numbers and nothing based on streaming numbers. So then they were rushing it to streaming so people didn't go to the cinema. So you make more money from streaming, make nothing from cinema, and then you don't have to pay the actors their bonuses, which is where most of their money is hidden.
Yep.
So now they're trying to kill theaters, so streaming's all that's left without giving these people new deals that give them better residuals, so they can make even more money and just make that. And this is not the difference between Disney going bust or not.
No.
Let's be completely clear here. This isn't Disney like fighting for survival. This is Disney just trying to eke every penny they can out of all of the hard-working people who work on these productions.
It's like every big business where CEOs are getting multi-million-dollar salaries. It's all about profit margin. They're all trying to eke as much profit out so they can raise their own salary and still be going to the board and going, look, we're still making profit. By the way, I've taken a 200% pay increase this year. But I've still made us profit. Go on.
There is no reason for any company to make profit.
I slightly disagree because profit allows you to then raise salary for staff.
It stops being profit then.
Well,
it
no.
It just becomes operating cost for the next year.
No,
but
you need
profit that gets paid out to shareholders who do.
Well, yeah, there needs to be a certain. I think there should be certain profit because then it allows you to have a period of time where you can figure out like, okay, wages go up or we scale. What I think there needs to be
any quote unquote profit in the way you're talking in my head just becomes operating costs for the foreseeable. I mean, there should be no money that can be taken out of the company to be given to people who 100 years ago put $100 into the company.
Here's the issue: if you do like the no profit thing, uh, they'll just shove it into the CEO. There needs to be, I think there should, like all businesses, at the end of the day, there should be a top end cap on what salary someone can earn from one business. Whether those CEOs want to work around it and go like, oh, I'm a CEO for 5 businesses, so I can get my salary that I want, fine. But like a single like registered business should have a maximum salary that they can provide, which would then a maximum like dividends payout. That needs to be a thing, because then then it forces them to have to put their money back into their own businesses.
I cannot wait for like 10 years time when we're making money from this for this clip to resurface and everyone be like, show us your tax returns.
I will, and I'll go. I'm not even making enough to be taxed yet, mate.
It's like we made 6 pence last year. Don't worry, we're not screwing anyone over.
It's fine, because if we start making big money off this, then we'll pick up all these shows that Netflix scraps that we love.
We'll make our own streaming platform that makes literally 0 pence. We'll register it as a charity because every penny we make just goes straight to infrastructure and whoever we're getting the content from. Don't give a fuck. I'm sick of it. Stop letting rich assholes become richer assholier people. We're only here because of the creatives. Let's be completely honest. Yeah. We're not here because we love Disney. We're here because we love what these actors and writers,
the shows.
Yeah, and the content that's been put together, coming all the way from the page of a comic book to a boardroom to a fucking set with Robert Downey Jr. saying, I am Iron Man. Yeah, that's why we're here. Not because Bob Iger sat in his office wanking 24/7 because there's dick all else part of his job to do while raking in 25 million.
I mean,
I'm sick of it.
And if you're doubting us, just go back and look at how often we've slated Marvel, Disney, DC, Warner Brothers, like all Sony. We give them shit on the daily for their mistakes and their bad decisions. But when the actual content and the writers and the people like Dave Filoni, who's like just rejuvenated Star Wars, like we give them props where props is due, because that's the shit we actually care about.
Yeah. And let the talented creatives be talented creatives. Stop holding them hostage with your dog shit payouts.
And I'm happy for us to have no content for this podcast for the next 2 months if it means that people get paid properly.
I will go back and watch shows from the fucking 60s. Let's go rewatch Doctor Who from episode 1 the day after you were born in the 60s, and we'll just review each of them all week.
Bruh.
Right. There we go. That felt good. Oh, I love it when I get to go full burn it down. Oh.